Is it not crazy to think that 3 years ago, July 1st, when the verdict was read out, that Johnny Depp triumphed over his ex-wife in civil court? Okay, I was watching Nick Rekieta, who was very sober at the time, at the top of the field. LawTube was alive and kicking, and well, men had effectively struck their first victory against Me Too, and you thought that, hey, there was going to be a lot of reason to be hopeful. Okay, there was hope on the horizon, and then, well, urinal cake started to look a little bit too tasty to a certain law pope, and society remembered just how blue-pilled and femme-centric they really were, and yeah, a lot of the goodwill and good work that Depp did back in, 2022, fighting the good fight, has kind of been squandered, but at least, hey man, it's that time of year. Let's reminisce a little, okay, as Johnny Depp singles out 3 people who did me dirty during the Amber Heard trial. What's her name, that headgeist over at the New York Post, and a lot of the other people who I would imagine were pushing that Washington Post article. Are those the 3? But Johnny Depp says that there were 3 people in particular who did him dirty during his highly publicized trial with ex-wife Amber Heard. And the actor addressed his separation and divorce from Heard, during which he lost a libel action against The Sun. Yeah, that was in the UK, over claims that he had assaulted Heard. Yes, and broadly won a defamation case against Heard in the relation to claims by Heard that he had physically, yes, and essayed her. In a recent interview with the Sunday Times, Depp, 62, spoke about how some of his Hollywood peers did me dirty during his time with the journalist, noting that the star's ire for them is bubbling and passionate. As weird as I am, certain things can be trusted, said the Pirates of the Caribbean star, which, yeah, we talked about Depp recently, and I always do like to talk about him because, yeah, prior to his cancellation, I really liked Johnny Depp. I wasn't just, oh my god, Jack Sparrow, I just love all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, because if we're going to be completely honest, I really like one movie, I like half of another, and the rest of that franchise sucks a bag of dicks. But I was also somebody who went to the theater to watch Secret Window. Anybody remember that one? Yeah, no. Also went to the theaters to see Public Enemies. Remember that? It was filmed in 60 FPS. 60 or 48. High frame rate. People were moaning and whining and complaining about that. I thought it looked cool, and kind of thought that instead of 3D and curved televisions, that would be the standard, especially for something that's a little bit more action-paced. But no, your eyes, according to some midwits that are out there, can't see anything more than 24 frames, and that's why, all of these debates about 60, 120, 144 FPS, games are just superfluous, because it's more cinematic to have something at 24 frames, but it's you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I really like Johnny Depp. I like a lot of the stuff that he did, and the fact that he's been canceled and gone from Hollywood for so long. When I hear rumblings about, new Pirates movie, Jack Sparrow could be coming back, and then I remember it's 2025, and the script is going to be dog shit, and it's going to be by Disney of the modern day, and it's oh man, but it could be Johnny Depp coming back. That would be nice. But yeah, if you're going to do some indie films, if you're going to do some lower budget fare, I'm probably fine with that. Okay, but let's go back to this interview here real quick. And my loyalty is the last thing anybody could question. I was with one agent for 30 years, but she spoke in court about how difficult I was. Oh, right, shit, yeah, I forgot about that. That's death by confetti, these fake motherfuckers who lie to you, celebrate you, say all sorts of horror behind your back, yet keep the money, that confetti machine going, because what do they want? Dough. And he was, Johnny Depp was, he was him, okay? Recently we've been talking a lot about, especially with all of the news, all of that AstroTurf news, that Scarlett Johansson is now the highest grossing actor of all time. It's just strip away all of those MCU performances, and I would really like to see, obviously, not Tom Hanks, rather, he'd probably be on the list somewhere, but Tom Cruise is right there at the top. But I would also like to see where Johnny Depp would end up falling on that list. I would imagine it'd be pretty high up there, because, okay, I'll give RDJ, I'll give Robert Downey Jr., the Avengers movies and the Iron Man movies, he made them what that is, okay? But Johnny Depp did something that was impossible to recreate, even though Disney has tried it multiple times over. He took the premise of turning a Disneyland attraction into a movie, and he turned it into a billion-dollar franchise. He made Jack Sparrow one of the most iconic Disney characters, let alone of the 21st century. But of all time? Am I overstepping the line here? I don't think so. And he also had, yeah, Alice in Wonderland movies. For whatever reason, they ended up making a lot of money. I thought the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory ones, yeah, his pairing with Tim Burton was awfully successful as well. But I digress, man. Yeah, he was making a lot of money, and all of the orbiters, and they were exposed, quite a few of them, during that 2022 trial. So yeah, he was making a lot of money, and a lot of people were profiting off of his success, ex-wife included. In the deposition in Heard's trial, the former agent Tracy Jacobs, I think she was the one who looked like a Muppet character, now with whom Depp worked with, yes, from 1988 to 2016, claimed some studios had become reluctant to use Depp because of his tardiness on set. I mean, when you were him and you were doing what you were doing for different productions, I mean, you make up with it. Even if him and Paul Bettany were going to be going on days-long benders, they would just go ahead and delay, or maybe shoot some, B-roll or some, second unit stuff, okay? When Johnny and Paul turn up, and, well, we'll get everything rolling again. He continued to single out 3 people in particular, stating, "I'll tell you what hurts. Well, there are people, and they are thinking of 3 who did me dirty. These people were at my kids' parties, throwing them in the air." And yeah, he would go ahead and, he can continue to single out his enemies, but something that was a little bit more intriguing. And for as much as I'm a Johnny Depp fan, and as much as I'm a Harry Potter fan, I never got around to seeing the Fantastic Beasts movies. I look over at my Harry Potter collection, well, one of the many ones. Like, I have a pretty exclusive and fairly expensive Hogwarts collection where it's got all of the special features and stuff like that, but that one's tucked away, somewhere safe and somewhere secure. But yeah, I got all the, original run, Blu-ray discs that are over there that I can just see right there. And I think I might have the first Fantastic Beasts movie, but I never watched them. I didn't watch the second one. Definitely didn't watch the third one, where he got replaced. Had a very good replacement as well in the form of Mads Mikkelsen, but it was funny, right? Because the last film in the Fantastic Beasts, what was it, Secrets of Dumbledore? It ended up bombing at the box office because at that point in time, public sentiment around Depp had very, very, very much swung in his direction. Even Mads Mikkelsen was posting pictures of, two Grindelwalds. So it's like, yeah, I won't throw shade at Mads Mikkelsen, even though he is, when it comes to working actors, like one of my favorites that's out there. Like, he's a big reason why I like Casino Royale and everything that I see him in. Like, I forgot he was in King Arthur. There's another film that I really like, but I digress. Johnny Depp says, fuck you, okay, to Warner Brothers over Fantastic Beasts firing. Yes, there's far too many of me to kill. So is Warner Brothers one of the 3, or is that 2 because they're brothers? Or, well, let's take a look. Johnny Depp isn't holding back on how he really felt when Warner Brothers asked him to step down from the Fantastic Beasts franchise in 2020. In the new interview with The Telegraph, the actor revealed his blunt, visceral reaction. "Fuck you." Okay, he said in response to Warner Brothers, "There's far too many of me to kill. If you think you can hurt me more than I've already been hurt, you're gravely mistaken." Oh shit. Depp was removed from the role of Gellert Grindelwald just one day after losing his UK libel trial against The Sun. Right, yeah. Which had referred to him as a wife beater due to the allegations made by his ex-wife Amber Heard. Yeah, because, I forget. It was Dan Wooten. Yeah, it was Dan Wooten who wrote the article. And then, props were their due, I guess. Right after the verdict came out, he wrote, "Wife beater Johnny Depp loses in a UK court." And it's like, okay, game recognizes game. But still, all of those allegations ended up being proven false. And on the UK side, on the US side, a few years later. So, anyways, Johnny Depp will depart the Fantastic Beasts franchise. We thank Johnny for his work on the films to date. Yes, Warner Brothers said at the time. But there's Public Enemies. That was 2009, huh? That was a decent film. I don't remember a lot of it. I remember the third act was kind of wonky. But anywho, back in the Telegraph, Depp described how it actually happened. Okay, it literally stopped in a millisecond, like while I was doing the movie. They said, "We'd like for you to resign," but what was really in my head was they wanted me to retire. Depp had only filmed one day before being recast with Mads Mikkelsen. The irony and hypocrisy, of course, is hard to ignore. Just 2 years later, in June of 2022, a U.S. jury ruled that Amber Heard had defamed Johnny Depp in her 2018 Washington Post op-ed. Well, no, because the verdict came out and, either July 1st or July 2nd, because the trial ran from the end of April. It took a week off for Easter. Maybe it was June 1st. I could be mistaken. Anyways, regardless. Jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. Heard was awarded $2 million, but they ended up, just by the grace of Johnny Depp saying, hey, you don't owe me anything except for an apology and make it public, bitch. Over the course of the highly publicized 6-week trial, jurors revealed they found Heard's testimony unconvincing. Well, yeah, her crocodile tears, and my dog stepped on a bee. Good times, man. One telling Good Morning America that her tears didn't add up and appeared to be crocodile tears. Yup, and yet, despite all of this, Warner Brothers kept Amber Heard in Aquaman. Zack Snyder brought her back. Well, this was, I guess, before the trial. Gave her more work after what I think probably the poop tape ended up coming out. Dropping a deuce on the bed. Gave her more work, but yeah, support the Snyderverse. Bring back Zack Snyder because he employs and he gives work to Amber Heard. Right. But yeah, she came back for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Outside of Black Adam and the Batman, the most profitable, and even though it lost money, DC EU film since the big Snyder kerfuffle. But anyways, she remained, in the film as Mara. I think she had like 2 lines or some shit like that. It was hilarious. It was basically like Rose Tico in Rise of Skywalker. Like, hey Rose, we're going on an adventure. Can't come. All right, bye. Amber Heard, hey Aquaman, I just gave birth to your kid. All right, look after him. I gotta go, peace out with Patrick Wilson. All right, okay, bye. But yes, Walter Hamada testified. Oh God, this was glorious. Yeah, that her role was only being reduced due to a lack of chemistry with Jason Momoa, not because of the legal battle or the defamation ruling. Oof, if only you could just reduce the role, or you would have. This potentially would have saved the viability of the DC EU is if you would have taken the same type of care and attention to, somebody like Gal Gadot. It's so funny, right? It took for Snow White for people to catch up that she's a horrific actress. It's like, bro, the evidence has been there the entire time, but I digress. Well, meanwhile, Johnny Depp, had been forced out of the Fantastic Beasts franchise in 2022. The ruling that led to Depp's dismissal was handed down without the benefit of a jury. Yeah, that UK case is funnier than Amber Heard's UK accent in the Snyder Cut. Remember that? She just got an English accent out of nowhere. Anyways, the contrast couldn't be clearer. Depp was dropped based on allegations and a judge's editorial ruling in the UK. Exactly, but Depp told the Sunday Times last month that he never had faith the controversy would simply fade. Interesting. Everyone was saying it'll go away, but I can't trust that. Will that go away? The fiction pond around the fucking globe? No, it won't. If I don't try to represent the truth, it will be like I've actually committed the acts I'm accused of, and my kids will have to live with it. 1000%, man, and this is why. That's why this trial, it really could have been something great to start off of, and I'm glad that Johnny Depp ended up getting his reputation back, not just because I'm a fan, but just because, he was unjustly targeted by a malicious woman and had his reputation ruined the world over. But yeah, he showed that there is definitely a change out there, okay? That if you fight back, that if you prove your innocence, if you have the facts on your side in today's day and age, and you cause a big enough stink, you will be able to reverse this otherwise insurmountable PR machine that is so femme-centric, that is so entrenched in our gynocentric social order. It's great to see him fight back. It's great to see him take a dump on Warner Brothers. I'd love to see him come back as Jack Sparrow one last time, but more or less, I'm just happy that he is succeeding at life at this point in time, and Amber Heard is still out of work. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.